Welcome back
Here we are.
vlogs number 7, part 2 of vlog number 7. We picked up last time we left off at leaving Buccaneer State Park in Mississippi. So we leave Buccaneer State Park in Mississippi, and our goal was to go to this little farm that we didn't know too much about in Lafayette,
Right.
Louisiana. So we knew there was a weather issue coming, and we knew there was a problem. We wanted some gumbo, and we thought we would do the back roads down through Louisiana and pick up a gumbo shop. But we started to find out that these places were, the mom and pop places were closed a lot because it was
Sunday.
So
It's very religious down there.
very religious. They stick to their stuff. So
Not a bad thing.
not a bad thing. So off we go, and we're hitting the back roads, and we decided to take Route 10, which I'll put an insert of the map. We joined up with Route 10 eventually and went underneath the south of New Orleans. And we left Buccaneer real early in the morning, and our first stop is, sometimes we do a stop at McDonald's, and we don't eat the food, but my wife turned me on to this, that the coffee there is cheap and it's very, very good.
Yes. Very good coffee, very good iced coffee, and it's a great price. Yum.
Yep, and it's a bathroom break, and it's a chance to stretch your leg, and usually we can park there without any problems.
Yes.
So it's a win-win-win. So we stopped off at this little McDonald's just as you're coming into New Orleans. I think there's this bridge that goes over Lake Pontchartrain, I think, and then it comes down in New Orleans, and we weren't on 10 yet though. We came in on 82 or one other road. Got into McDonald's. I know. So Yvette goes into the bathroom, and all of the people in the McDonald's didn't make any difference. It didn't make any difference what I don't know what finance bracket they were, their income bracket or whatever, but they were all dressed up for church, and it was the coolest thing to see. I was dressed like a slob, of course, so that was nice. But anyway, very nice people. People would just come up to you and shake your hand and say, "Have a nice day." It just absolutely, was a cool thing to have. I know it sounds sappy, but if you had to be there, it was just a very cool moment. So then we left there, got back on the road. Now we were on Route 10 going underneath New Orleans, and came up into, I guess, the main route that goes across, which is still 10. Got off into Lafayette, and no sooner did we stop the truck, or pretty close to it, and it started to rain. So we had an issue with the nav system again. So you're trying to find the place while it's raining. Not a good time. Sometimes it gets a little tense in the truck, but we get through it.
We do.
We get through it, and it's just started to pour. It's like 3 inches of rain fell overnight. But we did go to a place called Bon Temps, which was a Cajun joint in Lafayette. Scooter here had the fish tacos, which is totally Cajun.
But were they good? They were good.
They were okay.
Yeah, they weren't as good as the last place.
Right, and I had crawfish étouffée pot pie, but they must have been frozen crawfish, because from what we learned, this time of the year the crawfish aren't big enough to really harvest. So we were there just a little too early to get some fresh, have a nice crawfish boil or whatever. But whatever.
Still another week or two that they'll be coming in.
But really, it was a good dinner, and it was a nice place, and just people are just wicked nice. So that was cool. So then we get up the next morning, and we decide we're going to head to a place called Sea Rim State Park, which is near Port Arthur, which is in Texas. So we leave Lafayette, and we decide that instead of taking Route 10,
which would probably take us 2 hours, we would take the scenic route and take 6 hours.
6 hours. Yeah, because that's the way we roll.
Right.
Slower.
Yes.
Longer.
We wanted to see the scenic route of Louisiana.
Right. And
Mississippi's scenic route was really, really nice.
Yeah. Be careful, people from
I know, but Louisiana,
Yeah.
Still really hard hit from the hurricanes.
Really hard hit from the hurricanes.
A lot of debris piles, a lot of devastation there along the coast. They're definitely still in recovery mode, which will probably take them a few years to get out of.
Right.
And we weren't really on the coast. We didn't really get to see the coast
Not to the end.
until until almost the end.
Almost when we were there. And the
So
thing,
it
the
wasn't
thing
really
of
that
it,
scenic.
yeah. So that was the other cool thing is we're finally getting close to the coast. Then all of a sudden the road sort of bears to the right, and I'm like, "Oh, are we going north again?" And then it starts curving to the left, and I see the sign whiz by me that says "ferry" on it. Remember that?
Yep, I do.
And I'm like, "Ferry? What's ferry?
Oh my God,
Ferry?
we can't
What?
go on a ferry."
Ferry? We did. There's a bridge
Right.
that's coming up. There's a bridge we got to go over. This big lake or this bay or something. And we're just going over. No. So we come around the corner and it's like you either take the ferry or you're going back. So we were already on the road for 3 hours probably.
At least.
So it's not like we're going back. So I'm like, well, what's the worst that's going to happen? You show up with a truck and a trailer like this thing. They're just going to say no. So we pull up and he goes, yeah, you can bring it on. I'm like, okay, how much is it? And I'm waiting because we've already had the whole, paid the toll on the Pennsylvania Turnpike with a $20 bill, which is a kick in the butt. So I'm just waiting to see what this is going to be.
$1.
$1. One American dollar. So I'm sure that there are some subsidies with this ferry because there's a lot of refineries and stuff like that down there. So the the workers are going back and forth. But that was just awesome. So we took some video of that, and we'll put some video in there for you to see that. But we celebrated something on that little ferry crossing, and that my wife and I had never taken a cruise before. So that was our first cruise together.
For $1.
For $1.
No cocktails, though.
5 minutes. Get to the other side, and away we go. I don't think that officially was Texas yet, but we go over another bridge, and as you're driving along now, all of a sudden you see this, what's called a flare tower or a flame tower, which is the methane burn-off towers, big stovepipe chimney thing from the refineries. And that's the first thing you pick up on. You're like, wow, who's got the little eternal flame out there? And you see it from miles and miles away. And as we got closer to what's known as Port Arthur, we're still in Louisiana and Mooney.
But I think Port Arthur is technically in Texas.
Oh, it is, absolutely. And I don't know what the name of the town is on the other side of it that we were on. But we end up hooking up, and you would see all these white buses go by us with all the workers from the refineries that they were shuffling back and forth. But the refineries in Port Arthur are so incredibly huge. We go up over this bridge. Now we're officially in Texas, right?
Right.
And you come down, and it's a big sign says, "Oh, welcome to Texas." And then we're right in this you're driving right through the middle of this refinery. The pipes and the things, or the widgets and things, are going over the top of the truck, and you're just like, geez, don't throw a match outside or anything. No smoking signs, all that. So we saw that anyway. Okay, so then we head down and we find Sea Rim State Park. Nice state park, very simple.
Very small, only probably about 15 spots.
Yep.
Perfect, right
Yep.
on the coast. Lots of nice
Yep.
birding, trails through the marshy area.
Yeah. Why don't you tell the audience in 15 words or less why we're staying at all these state parks though?
Well, right now we're staying in state parks in Texas because there's no BLM land. There are some national forests, but they're mainly on the eastern side of Texas. And right now we're a little more central, so you can only stay at state parks.
Yeah.
But
But we're smart
Texas
about
has a
it.
great state park system. I mean, there's a lot of state parks. We bought a state park pass for $70. Gets you into every state park, and then it's probably anywhere between $10, $20 to stay a night. But you get showers, you get hookups, you get water, you get all of that. But you
Yep.
have to do it.
Yep, you have to do it. And it's
So,
better
why-
than staying in a hotel or a motel. And
Right, and we're in Texas right now. We have a house sit coming up, so
Yep.
we need to stay here centrally. We do plan on, once we leave here, after our house sit, going to Big Bend, which is a national park. Yes, it's got campgrounds in it, but it also has a lot of dry camping in it, which totally takes
Yeah,
you
it's
off
one
the
of
grid.
it's one of the only national parks in the United States that you can quote unquote dry camp in. That's what I
Really?
understand. Yes,
Oh,
you
I
can't
haven't
in
read
any
that.
other national park. You can't do it. You can go and camp, but not in a like a dry camp situation. They're not as fast and loose like Texas
But-
is about it.
Big Bend is pretty big.
But now, does our state park pass cover the national park? No,
No.
it
That
would
will
if
be
we
another
a
pass
different
that
kind
we
of
will
pass
have to get,
altogether. Okay.
especially if we plan on visiting other state parks in
So
the country.
there's that.
Yes.
All
So
right.
Texas state parks are a good thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's definitely a deal to do.
And we'll talk more about that in part 3. So anyway, we hooked up at Sea Rim. We were good to go. We had a nice spot. It was nice. They have a really nice boardwalk. I'll put in a picture of that through some of the wetlands there. Probably one of the longest boardwalks I've been on so far.
Yeah.
Ever.
Huge.
There is still, even though they've rebuilt quite a bit of it, there's still a lot of evidence of hurricane damage there. Access roads to the beach. Some of the other facilities, there are no showers there
Right, that
because
got
of that.
wiped out,
That's another thing that got wiped out. Some of the trail systems they've closed off. And then the road, the actual road, I believe is 82, that takes us to the park. We were planning on getting on that road and just heading down the beach some more, and then we found out it was closed.
And
So-
that closed probably 5 years ago
And
due
they
to
haven't
another
opened it.
hurricane and have no plans on ever reopening it.
So interesting. You see these maps. That's another thing. You don't always. You have to check more than one source sometimes. Asking the locals is probably a lot better off. All right. So that pretty much wraps it up. We're going to take up on Sea Rim on our next episode of part 3 of vlog number 7. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our blog, which is www.theturtleandthetiger.com. And that's me and you, and
And we're out.
we're out.
See you next time.
See you next time.